Let's talk about how to beat man defense in Madden 23. Now, I know man defense can be tough to go against this year. A lot of people are running it, but I'm going to show you some things that I like to use to beat it. The first formation I want to look at is the gun tight doubles. You can also use this out of shotgun tight, which is in a ton of playbooks. And the play I want to look at is bench. And this is pretty much going to be the same in gun tight or even gun tight offset as well. And you'll notice that there's two corner routes in this play, but one of them is red. That's the primary receiver. Now that corner route is actually a really good corner route for some reason. I don't really know why, but the red corner route's really good. And what you want to do is you just want to throw this right as he's breaking. You want to kind of anticipate his break, and you see you get a little separation. So that is one route that's really good at beating man coverage this year. I'll show it to you again here. You want to throw it like right as he's breaking. You want to like anticipate the break, because that's when you get the most separation, as you see, and we're easily going for a touchdown. Now, if you wait till well after he makes his cut to throw this, you'll see that the defender can catch up to the ball. It doesn't look like he's that close, but he can undercut it, and that's the difference. But the good thing about quick passing this route on the break as well is it helps you beat man blitzes, because the man blitzes are very fast this year, so there's not many corner routes that you can throw that's going to beat a blitz. This is one of those. You see one more time. Just time it up, the kind of DB turns his back, and then you just catch and run, and you pick up great yards. Now, other routes that are really good against beating man are whip routes or zig routes, which you can hot route by pressing Y or triangle, and then you select the receiver. So here we're going to select X, and then you can see in the bottom right corner you have your hot routes. We're going to choose the zig option, which is left on the right stick. And if you're just playing someone that runs a lot of straight man, you know, you can do this to double receivers on both sides of the field. So now you have two zig routes and you have a corner route. But again, you know, even if you're not using this play that has the good corner route, you can put a zig on any play in the game. And usually this year on a lot of plays, I like to keep one zig route because they're very good at beating man pretty consistently. They beat them like this for huge yards. You catch it, rat catch it, you know, get the yards after catch, and you go up the field. But I would say about 75 to 80% of the time, the zig routes, if you have a decent receiver with good route running, will beat the man coverage. Now, really quickly on this channel, I do break down the game. I show gameplays. I kind of go over what I'm doing. I try to teach you a little bit more about the game. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss any of these videos. I also have a Patreon page where I break down the highest level Madden tips. It's where I post my ebooks, the best defenses, the best glitch plays in the game. The link for that is below in the pinned comment if you want to take your game to a higher level. Now, if you have lower route running guys, which honestly we do here with Valdez, Scantling, and Hardman, they're not good route running guys. They're going to win a little bit less, especially against two good corners, which we're going against in AJ Terrell and Casey Hayward. So they're not going to win quite as often. You see how they're kind of getting locked up a little more often. But if you have guys that are like in the mid 80s of route running, you're going to win like 75, 80% of the time, even against a good cornerback. So right here, for example, I'm putting Kelsey on this little zig route because he's got pretty good route running even for a tight end. And you can see just how much he cooks. He's going to win it the majority of the time because he's a good route runner. If you have bad route runners, you know, it's going to be more like 50-50, you know, versus 75-80, which you're seeing right here. Kelsey just absolutely abusing anybody who's on him. This angle route here from the running back is also another good man beater. Usually you can find a few of these in your playbooks in various different formations. These routes usually do a pretty good job. You have to wait on them a little bit, and they don't create as much separation as they did in years past, but they are still very good at beating man coverage. You just have to wait a little bit, and that's kind of the one problem. They're not going to be as useful versus a blitz, but if you're going against just straight regular man coverage, which a lot of people do run because they just think it's the safest thing to do. I mean, you could see he's going against AJ Terrell here, and we're pass leading this to the left, and we're getting just enough separation to pick up good yardage. Another thing that's good is motion slant route. So you can hot route pretty much anybody to a slant, and what you want to do is just send them in motion, like one step, hike the ball. These are also going to do a really good job. You see the separation they get? Regular slants this year are a little hit or miss. The man defense is so much better this year that if you just use a regular slant, they might get kind of bagged a good bit of the time. But if you just send them in that slight motion, that little motion just helps, and it creates beautiful separation. Again, not going to be the best option versus a blitz because that motion delays his route a little bit and you have to wait. But if they're just playing regular straight man with just a regular pass rush, I mean, you could see just how much Valdez Scantling is cooking Casey Hayward, who's much better ratings wise than him. Here we'll do it to Hardman on the other side against AJ Terrell. And I mean, again, you could see just, I mean, he's cooked. And especially if you got some speed here, you're going to be good. This is one of the things where route running doesn't matter as much like it does for the zig route. The motion slant, I mean, speed is going to be more important than the route running itself. but just getting that little extra motion that gives him kind of a free release and gives him a little bit of a speed boost almost, because he's going to move before the corner does. That's going to easily beat man coverage. Drag routes to the tight end, another route that usually beats man coverage pretty well. I think it's usually one of the more consistent things. And you can see here, I mean, pretty easy, 5+ yards. It's not going to work every single time like years past, but again, we're kind of just talking about the best and most effective ways to beat man. The tight end drag is going to create the separation you need. It's going to create pretty good separation. Drag routes in general from other receivers are a little more hit or miss this year. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. The tight end is the most consistent. So that's why I say kind of focus on the tight end drag. So when you're thinking about man defense, you have to expect it on every play, unless you're just playing someone that just runs straight zone every play, then it's a different story. But most people are going to run man, so you want to make sure on every play you either have a really good man beating route like the corner route in the play bench, and then you might want a secondary route like a zig or a tight end drag or a motion slant. You want to have at least one route on every play that you know can beat man consistently, and that's really going to keep you moving the chains. Another kind of bonus route is the tight end post, which you can only get if you have a tight end apprentice, which Travis Kelce has this. I believe Darren Waller has it. George Kittle has it. If you're an Ultimate Team, there's a few guys that can get it right now. But when you have tight end apprentice, when you go to hot route, you could see you get those extra hot routes. You get the cross, the corner, the post, and the trail. We want to look at the post route. This post route cooks man coverage pretty much every time. It's always going to create good separation, as you see right there. And I mean, look, he's off to the races. He's untouched for a touchdown. That post creates great separation. I don't think route running matters too much on this. I think the post itself, it's just a glitchy post route. So again, we'll run it. You see plenty of separation. I mean, the guy is getting picked as well, but that's really not important. What's important is the separation that he makes on his cut. So we'll just kind of get everybody else out the way so he doesn't get picked. And you see, like, you don't need a pick. He's just going to be open pretty much every time. This is, if you can get this, if you're using a regs team that has a tight end apprentice, or you're in MUT, you might want to consider getting this on your tight end. Another great man beating route is in gun bunch to play deep corner. This is in a handful of playbooks. The Steelers playbook, I think, is the best playbook with this play, but it's also in the West Coast playbook. I believe it's in the Bills playbook, the Packers playbook. It's in a few playbooks. This play is also a good man beater because this corner route here in the slot, we're just gonna kind of get this receiver out the way so I can show you. This corner route pretty much beats it, I would say 95% of the time. The only time it doesn't beat it is if he gets caught up or he gets bumped. And I mean, Smith-Schuster's not like some super great receiver in the game. He's low 80s guy. Route running isn't amazing or anything. Any receiver can cook on this route. Route running doesn't matter. The route itself is just very, very good. You'll see again, creates great separation. And then if you got like a guy in the slot here, like if you do have a high-end receiver, you're going to create even more separation, but you don't need a high-end receiver. But if you have a high-end guy, especially one that has like route tech or slot-o-matic or even like short-in elite, which shouldn't work on this because it's not a short-in route, but the abilities just kind of glitch, so it works on a lot of routes. Then you're going to create even more separation with this, but you don't even need that, and you can pick up huge yards. Also in gun bunch to play Steeler cross, which is only in the Steelers playbook. This is another good man-beating play. I really like this play because this crossing route does a really good job at creating separation. Now, don't get this confused with the play verticals. Now, the verticals crossing route, it's a little bit deeper. It doesn't create as good of separation. It will create good separation if you have a high-end receiver with like a route running ability, right? Like route tech. This will cook, but the Steeler crossing route will cook pretty much no matter what, whoever you have there. And I want to show you what I mean. It's a really quick cut, and you can see it creates just enough separation. Now, again, the higher end receiver is going to be better here as well, but you don't need a high end receiver for this to be successful. This is another reason I like to use the Steelers playbook, because of this play. Now, this is another route I want to show you that's really good against man. So again, I'm still in the Steelers playbook. I'm in the single back wing stack, and the play is PA Power O. Now, the route that I want to look at here, then this is better for people that blitz, honestly, just because you don't want like any deep safeties on this play. But usually, even if there is a deep safety, your opponent would user him anyway, so it doesn't matter. Now, it's not the play itself that I really care about. What I care about is this route that Smith-Schuster's on. It's this little post route that it cuts out and then cuts in. You can find these in a lot of playbooks as well. There's a play in the Saints and Packers playbook in shotgun tight where there's an outside receiver on a route similar to this. It's not as wide. It's a little skinnier, but it's the same concept. Post routes that run out and back in, they destroy man coverage this year. It's another amazing man coverage beating route, and it's very consistent. Very rarely does it not win. So again, we'll show you again when he cuts. I mean, it's a world of separation. That's why this route is so amazing. Jumping into the Saints playbook here so that I could show you. The play is called Saints in. Again, this is also in the Packers. It might be in the Chargers playbook as well. Don't quote me, but you can see it's a similar type of post route. It's a little skinnier. Like I said, it's a little bit better versus a blitz just because you want to make sure there's no deep safeties in the middle of the field. So we're going to run it against a blitz. We're going to motion this guy to block, and you're going to see crazy separation. Not as much as the other one. Some of them get more separation than others. The one in the Steelers playbook definitely creates a lot more separation, but you could see this one's going to still give you big yards, especially if you got a good receiver here. You're going to be able to create separation, and you can get big plays out of it. Now, if you want to see some high-level gameplay where these tips are being put to use, make sure you check out this video right here on the screen.